May 30th, 2021 was definitely the worst day of my life. I got sexually assaulted and I have not been able to move on from what happened to me. My friends and I made the plan to go to this graduation party. When we got there, there was this guy named Drew. One of Drew's friends came up to me and he was asking if I would ever hook up with Drew. I told him no. At the party, there was drinking. None of us were of age. There was a pool. Everyone started getting in their undergarments and swimming in those. I did it with them. I got super sick and felt nauseous. One of my friends put my sweatpants on for me, my hoodie back on. When I got to my friend's house, I remember laying down and then everything just went black from there. I woke up, I couldn't breathe. I could feel a hand on my hip and another one pressing the pillow up on my face. I told him to stop 2 or 3 times and he just wouldn't. I had to take my hands and physically push him up so I could roll myself onto the ground. I noticed it was Drew because he jumped right up, pulled his pants up, and just started playing video games as if he didn't just do anything. The first thing I did when I got home was I went and told my dad everything that had happened. He instantly called the cops. I didn't even take a shower or change because I knew from watching crime shows that I couldn't shower because whenever I got DNA tested, there'd be no DNA on me. With no DNA, I thought to myself that nobody would believe me. After I gave my statement, they took me to the hospital to get rape kit tested. I felt as if my body didn't even belong to me anymore. I found out that night Drew had admitted doing it to me to his friends, but whenever he had his police interview, he kept switching up his story. I was very scared, I was upset. I never thought something like this would ever happen to me. Once we got the results of the test showed that Drew's DNA was all over my body. I was very upset that the judge changed his conviction and the sentence. In my opinion, Drew did not serve the amount of time he should have for what he did to me.
How difficult was it to make the decision to file the charges and pursue prosecution here?
At first, I didn't even want to tell my parents. I was too scared for them to find out that I was out where I shouldn't have been and that I was doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing. But right after I did, they were like, we're going to take this to the police. And I knew not to shower or anything so that we had all the DNA evidence we needed.
You say that the night that this happened was a graduation party, right?
Yeah.
There was a lot of drinking going on, which was underage.
Yeah.
You drank too much that night. You acknowledge that, right?
Yeah.
And you said when you went to lay down on the couch, they brought you a pillow, a blanket, and a wastebasket because you were puking because you're not a big drinker.
Yeah.
And when you laid down, everything started to swirl and then you blacked out.
And it just went black, yeah.
Yeah. How much had you had to drink?
I had just like 6 of these little bottles of shooters that were like 99 proof, and it wasn't good.
Yeah. Drew was friends with your friends. You didn't know him, but you knew people who did.
Yeah.
Okay, so you thought he's okay because he knows people I know. He wasn't some stranger completely.
I've heard about him from my friends, and I was like, okay, he seems like a nice guy. And so I hung out with him at the party a little bit, but like not that much, because one of his friends came up to me telling me like, Drew wants to hook up with you, he wants to do this, and I said no. So then I stopped like hanging out with him or like even going around him at the party.
So you made it real clear you were not interested in being involved with him physically, romantically, emotionally.
Yeah.
Not
Way
interested
before I
in,
even started drinking, I admitted, like I said
stone
that.
cold sober, you said not interested.
Yeah.
You said that you left the party with friends, which is where this ultimately took place.
We all rode together in the same car. It was me, Drew, and then 3 other people.
I know you were shocked to wake up and somebody's on top of you, as you allege at that point. How shocked were you that it was him?
At first, I didn't know it was him because he had a pillow over my face, so I couldn't see. And I was like, I had to like turn my head to the side so I could breathe. And then whenever I said stop multiple times, he wouldn't. So I had to like force him off of me, and that's when I saw who it was. And then he just jumped up, pulled his pants up, and then started playing video games as if he didn't even do anything.
When you realized it was him, what did you think?
I was shocked. I didn't know he would do something like that because he was taking care of me at the party whenever I was puking later on. And I guess my friends told me that he was like taking care of me in the car whenever I was puking, but I don't know if that's true because I wasn't there for it mentally, I guess.
You say you forced him onto the ground. You rolled him off of you, right?
I kind of like pushed him up and then rolled myself off onto the floor.
So you pushed him up and then rolled your body.
Yeah.
And then you say he pulled his pants up, got up and started playing video games.
Playing video games.
When Cameron first told me she'd been raped, that was a shock. There was sadness, there was anger. I was not able to be a father and protect my daughter. There were moments as I waited for her to come home from the rape kit where I was angry that she'd put herself in this situation. No matter what she had done that night, regardless of the underage drinking, regardless of the swimming, she did not need to be raped. After Cameron told us the story, my phone call to the police was, "Will you please get here now?" I was afraid as a father, the anger that I had towards this individual, I was ready to go find him and seek my own vengeance.
When she told you about this, she was honest with you that she was just blackout drunk. So how did you feel about this happening to her?
To be honest, there's times where, I would get very, very frustrated, very mad, very angry. But I could not allow myself to get like that because I had to worry about taking care of Cameron during that whole time. I did not want her to feel like she was left alone, let my emotions get control of me.
You say that your wife took Cameron to the emergency room for a rape kit, and it confirmed DNA was all over, correct?
Yeah, correct.
When you heard that, what was your reaction?
I was devastated. That's the final proof, right? I mean, there it is. It's everywhere. And then it just made me, like I said, feel like I failed to protect my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
It was devastating.
And, Cameron, you claim you weren't conscious for a lot of this, certainly not cognitively present for a lot of this. So when you got that information back, what did that mean to you?
It really hit me hard, and I was crying, and I was like, I was right. This will prove to other people that I wasn't lying about it. And then I also was like, maybe I'll actually get to send him to where he should be and get my justice for it.
How do you feel talking about that now?
I am very embarrassed by the fact that everybody around the nation knows that I was underage drinking, I was at a party, and all these things. But at the same time, I also feel proud of coming out with it because I have so many other girls texting me saying I'm helping them so much and that I'm inspiring them to come out with their stories. And it just feels good now. But
did any of his friends try to dissuade you from doing this? Did any of the people that know him reach out to you to try to say, oh, come on?
Yeah, his friends all took my side. And immediately after it happened, I told Drew I had to use the restroom. And then I went into his friend's room with his girlfriend, and I was crying. And the guy knew that he believed me other than his best friend at that point. And then his friends, I have had a few of them texting me and making posts and just lying about so many different things. And it's they're calling me all these names. They are just awful. And they send very harsh things to me. They're trying to make me look like an awful person and that I'm just a liar. And it's I have all the proof.
Scott, how did you think the initial trial went? Not the sentencing, but the initial trial.
Listening to the defense and just hearing all the facts of it come out, in public is very, very tough, very embarrassing. But I felt like it was great. Right after closing arguments, we got our guilty verdict.
Were you surprised that on the first two counts that it was not guilty?
Honestly, I was, but I could see how the state couldn't prove without a shadow of a doubt. I was just ready for the guilty, and so we could get this behind us and try to get Cameron moving on, because from the night that it happened to trial, it was a very, very rough stretch.
How did you feel about Cameron coming out, disclosing who she was, and speaking out publicly about this?
I was very proud. Our whole family, our whole community is proud of her for what she's doing. We did not expect this. We also tried to honestly discourage her from it. You know, putting her face out there at 16 is very dangerous, can be very overwhelming for her. But at the same time, I have to be very proud of her. I'm seeing a smile that I hadn't seen in a while, honestly, as these other girls reach out to her to, you know, praise her and bring their stories to Cameron. It's a lot for a 16-year-old, but I'm also, you know, like I said, very proud of what she's doing.
In the trial, Drew was convicted of assaulting me, and his sentencing was supposed to be 4 to 15 years.
To our disbelief, the judge decided that 4 years was too much for the crime committed. His only option was to overturn his own verdict of guilty to not guilty. And the reason being, Drew was 18. Drew had no criminal background.
I feel like the judge made Drew to seem like the victim. It's so messed up. All the evidence is there to prove that Drew is guilty, yet the judge still changed his verdict.
The next part totally took us by storm, as the judge decided that he would state it was the parents' fault for what had happened to Cameron. It was not Drew's. Makes no sense.
I immediately left the courtroom before it was even over. As a victim, I felt as if my voice hadn't been heard and I should have just kept quiet about the whole situation.
We put our faith in the justice system. We put our faith in that judge. Now, with the judge's change in verdict and Drew out there free, we have to live this again. I feel like our anger now has moved more from Drew to the judge.
When I look at the judge, I feel like he should be held accountable for what had happened. I feel like the reason most girls don't come out with what happens to them and they just stay silent is because of what this judge did. I feel that it is so important for me to speak out as a sexual assault victim. I recently posted about what happened to me on social media. Throughout all this, I've had people I know and people I don't know reach out to me and tell me their stories. All of the other girls said that they have regretted not speaking up about what had happened to them, and them seeing my story has kind of pushed them to do so.
The justice system is broken. And I'm terribly sorry about that. Before I say any more, I just want to say to her that I hear you, I believe you, I see you, you matter, and I stand with you. And I wish that I was in the robe and you were in my courtroom and I could tell you that from that power of position, because we really do have the best justice system in the world. It's just that judges that don't pay attention and follow the law make it an injustice system. Here in this case, we have judge nullification. The elements were all there. The admissions were there. And the judge took it upon himself to nullify it all, to be the prosecutor, to be the judge, to be the jury, and to be the appellate body.
So there was a procedure to do this, and who knows what was in Judge Adrian's mind that day, but he made a mistake in this. Would you agree?
Absolutely. What he did is took his own personal feelings, which is not an element of any crime, which we caution jurors against, and he put his feelings right in there. But to toss it out and disregard that the elements were met, that is a violation of law.
Well, we reached out to Drew Clinton's attorney. He did not respond to our request for comment, but he has publicly, vehemently denied that his client raped Cameron and said that Clinton has maintained from the beginning that he believed that this was a consensual encounter. It was important to me for you to hear from another judge that respects the law, that has studied your case, because I don't want anything to cheapen this experience for you at all. So I just wanted you to hear that.
Thank you.
And I hope you take that to heart.
I woke up to him with a pillow on my face. I couldn't breathe.
A judge overturns a rape conviction.
The judge said he's served enough time, declaring him not guilty.
Why the judge let him go. All new Dr. Phil. Check your local listings.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.